But I think so much of what we've seen over the last 3 years is a complete exposure of just how strong the Zionist cause actually is financially. We've seen what they've done to our political and economic system. Do you believe, from where you stand today, and obviously we want to touch on the Substack, do you believe that Zionism, or at least the state of Israel, is on its way out? Do you believe that it is inevitable that it is going to collapse?
Yes, 100%. I have zero doubt. And I think that it is closer than people believe. I think that this is going to be the final result of this war that they started stupidly with Iran. The dominoes started falling, and the result is going to be once all those fake installed Arab regimes, those collaborative regimes, and I call them worse names, but I don't want to use this language now. Once they
you can let it fly here, man. It's all good here.
Okay. Once they are removed, once they become unstable, this whole envelope that protects Israel from the anger and the justified hatred, the justified hate that Arabs have for Israel, when this is gone, Israel is gone. Israel is gone. And I want to say something about what you said about the power of Zionism, and this is truly immense and overwhelming. I mean, no one could imagine something like this. No one could. I couldn't imagine. I've been a radical thinker for a decade. This is like a year and a half ago, I said we moved on from the realm of politics to the realm of psychiatry. This is not politics anymore. This is not some kind of give and take, some kind of I want to preserve this is important to me, you give me something. This is really psychiatry, but we didn't know Zionism had this much power in the West, but what we also didn't know is that, and this is also a shocking part, that there are so many people in Western elites and in Arab elites who fully identify with Israel and embrace Israel and love Israel and would support Israel at any cost. Would support, I mean, this we are seeing, I mean, I grew up in Israel. I'm not sure I can talk of myself as a Westerner, but if you grew up in the West, this should make you question your entire life, basically. Because
I think a lot of Americans are going through that right now. They've been going through it for a while.
This is very healthy. How did things come to this? How did things come to a place where ordinary people are telling their governments, have you seen the children being murdered? And they are shocked. We are shell-shocked. We are broken. And we are telling figures in authority, have you seen this? Are you seeing this? And they're telling us, now the weather forecast. Here's a recipe. Oh, here's a vacation go to Italy, have a vacation. We want to talk about this and this and that. So this utter disconnect. What the fuck is happening? What the fuck is happening? It's like we are being occupied by a race of aliens, because this doesn't even feel human.
We covered a story. We covered a story a little bit earlier about this data center that they're trying to build close to where I grew up, and the whole Oedipus of the entire story basically comes down to, I'm rich, I'm powerful, I don't give a fuck who this hurts. I'm going to get what I want. And so we also discussed the fact that it is almost overwhelming in Argentina that they're not on board with basically this becoming the next Israel, with Milei basically rolling out the red carpet for all of the Zionists to basically come there once things become too hot in Palestine, where they're basically just going to relocate. And so much of this, as I'm sure you could speak to, is a class war. As much as there is the racial element to it, so much of this is based on money and power. And so when people are looking around and saying, how could you look at these children being massacred and not say anything? Because it pays me very well to pretend like I don't see it.
Yeah. I agree with this. But what I specifically mean is, when something like this happens, when children are being massacred on camera, and the reaction that you get from your entire civilization, this is everyone and everything everywhere all the time, is it's not happening and it's no big deal and get over it and calm down. This is not only them being evil, this is the whole world I believed existed doesn't exist. What I thought society was is not true.
Yeah.
What I thought the US was is not true. It's just an illusion. Or Germany or Italy or many other countries. This is not true. I mean, I hear I have like followers and people I talk to from basically all over. And Australia it's like a complete asylum. It is a complete. You hear stories from Australia. People being arrested for wearing a shirt saying "Free Palestine," actually getting arrested. I mean, amazing stuff. People getting raided, getting censored for voicing the slightest criticism of Israel. I mean, this goes really beyond just Zionism and how evil this is. This tells us that there's deep rot. There's deep rot in Western societies, which is bigger than Israel, which is bigger than what Israel is doing. This is a civilization based on a lie, based on a deception. Everything they told us was a lie, and I think that the more radical we are in understanding this and insisting that this is the reality, the better chances we have of creating something new once this house of cards collapses. Because this is unsustainable. I mean, you cannot operate in such clear violation of basic humanity forever. The things don't work like this. It can't. I mean, the fact that they attempt this tell us how stupid they are and how disconnected they have become themselves, where they don't even feel obliged to act like normal tyrants and hide the bad stuff they're doing. And they don't even feel the need to do this anymore. They just brag, they say and do whatever. So this, I think that this, if you want to talk about this, we can talk about this a little more, about the meaning of this war in Iran and what Yahya Sinwar started. This is not
Wait, let me
only
just say for people, let me just clarify for people, they might not know who Yahya Sinwar, who is the leader of Hamas, who, how long has it been since they killed him? It's been a couple years, right?
2 years or so, yeah.
Yeah, okay, just in case people don't know that who you're talking about, sorry.
Yeah. I think that this war is going to be one of the major wars in history, basically. Its implications for like geopolitics, for the rest of humanity, they're going to be immense. They are going to be immense. Iran's ability to stop the plans of Israel and the US and to make a mockery of their all this bluster about what they are and what they stand for and their capabilities and technologies and yada. And Iran just cancels all this and stays strong and begins this process of radically changing West Asia and ending Western hegemony in West Asia. This is huge. I said it before, and I actually believe it, that the revolution of 1979 is going to be more important historically than the revolution of 1917. Because the revolution of 1917, I'm talking about the communist revolution in Russia, had major implications, but they were limited in time and limited in space, in geography. The Soviet Union collapsed, and now it's like it never existed, basically. I mean, the biggest thing that remains is China, but China took a different path, and it is a different story. The revolution of 1979, if they succeed, and I believe that they will succeed in changing West Asia and bringing American imperialism and the image of the US as this big, mighty, invincible power, bringing this to this end, this is going to have way. I'm not afraid to use big words and big emotions for this, because this is a big moment in history. This moment right now, this is one of those. I mean, I was around when the Berlin Wall fell. I think you're a little young for this. Maybe
you and I are probably the same age.
Okay.
I was born in 71.
Okay. So yeah, we are around the same age.
Mr. Gorbachev, tear down this wall.
Yeah. And this was a big, like, it felt big. It was like history was happening in front of our eyes. And this is a similar moment, and potentially even bigger, because Western imperialism and this whole international endeavor of white supremacy spreading and taking more land and destroying more communities and more parts of the world and more of the earth geography and resources, like a fucking virus.
Yeah.
Bringing something like this to an end, this is like once in a millennia celebration. This is really huge, and I'm really excited to witness something like this. And I think that this is a word of encouragement for people who are watching this, because I think it is really so easy, and this is what the system wants. The system wants us depressed. It wants us arrested and down and without energy and gray and dull and hopeless. And we should resist. This is part of our duty as resistance fighters, because we are resistance fighters. We don't have Kalashnikovs, but we have our voice, we have our body, we have our life, and what we do with it. And it's really important that we retain a certain level of enthusiasm, because we are watching really great things. This is not just the horrors that are still going on in Palestine, in Gaza, and the West Bank, and other places. I mean, Venezuela and Cuba and all this. I mean, it's like they have an appetite for other people's misery that is unquenchable. They have to make someone suffer. This is, I don't know. This is not even for a purpose. It's like the sadism is the purpose.
Yeah. You're talking about people that were killing and eating and raping children, right? Like, that's the kind of people that we're talking about here. Yeah. And I think it's very important that you made the connection to white supremacy, and I make it all the time. And Zionism is white supremacy. It is completely white supremacy. It's always been white supremacy, and that's just one of its sort of tentacles. Just one of the, one of its avenues.
I completely agree, and I wanna talk and write about this a little more because um, this like an awakening happening now in the States with people like waking up to the reality of this insanity that's going on, this domination, this occupation of the US. And I think that especially on the right wing, I mean, liberals present no hope to anyone as well, but especially on the right wing, I think that the mistake that they are making, they want to blame it all on Jews and Zionism and the Jews and the control the Jews have. And
Right.
now, Jews have too much power in the US. We have to say it. And this is unhealthy, and this has been destructive, and we can see the results. But you cannot artificially sever the ties, the ideological, the emotional, the psychological, the historic ties between Zionism and white supremacy. And the fact that, as I see it, a big reason why Zionism has been so successful in the West, it's because of the West's white supremacy and how addicted it is to white supremacy. And Zionism, when like Germany cannot go and occupy and murder black people now in Namibia, it's not nice. They're not going to do this. And the same like Belgium, it can't return to the Congo and kill 5 million black people. They won't do this now because of PR reasons, not because they are so different. But Israel gives them the outlet for this psychopathy. Israel tells them, you can vicariously continue doing what you love to do, which is kill brown and black people and destroy communities. And you really love doing this. We'll give you we will be this. I mean, a few years. When was it that it was revealed that during the civil war in former Yugoslavia, some tourists from Italy and other places, but that went there and sniped people for pay. They paid like a big chunks of money to kill people with a sniper rifle from whatever distance. And in a way, Zionism fulfills this this element or this mission for former colonial powers. Mm-hmm. They can't. France won't go into Algeria, and Belgium won't go into Congo, and the Netherlands won't go into Indonesia. But through Israel, they can keep this thing alive. They can stay connected to this poisoned root that they share. And when people insist to not face to not face white supremacy and to not talk about this, they cannot fight Zionism effectively, because this is one big mechanism that Zionism uses to appeal to Western audiences and Western elites. It sells them this white supremacist dream and its fulfillment in a sanitized version. You don't have to shoot a child. I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
So I agree.
I feel like they've always used us as Jews, right? So like I grew up Ashkenazi Jewish, South Florida, Zionist, the whole thing, right? And I feel so much rage because just like people were forced to no longer speak Arabic, my relatives would have been forced to no longer speak Yiddish. And they did actually have that culture before. And a lot of them were used and lied to and manipulated and were sold this false narrative. So I have like a lot of rage about that. So it's not just that they actually stripped the white culture, people's white culture that they had. So like my family was Polish, Austrian, Russian, whatever. But when those people came there, they were told, you can't speak that anymore. You can't have that anymore. And so they lost their histories too.
Yeah.
And so I feel like, so many Jews were used for the Zionist project.
Yeah, I agree. And Zionism is an extremely cynical movement. It has no authentic core. It doesn't have like an actual belief.
No.
It's very cynical, and it will say and do and use whatever and whoever to achieve more power and more financial benefits. And it also contained this element. Again, this is like a pathology, and on top of a pathology, beside the psychopathy, this is really, they had this urge, this impulse, this drive to counter the experience of what they saw, the experience of the exile for Jews, the experience of the diaspora. They wanted to create a new type of Jew, muscular, heroic, wielding a weapon, and strong, and not like those pathetic Jews who lived in ghettos and would just pray and would run away if they were afraid. No, we want to create something new, and so really the religious Jews who came to this new land, what they did to Yemen is it's like a whole series, just what they did to Yemeni Jews. But also religious Ashkenazi Jews and people were they had this mentality that we have to create something new that's not like the diaspora. And it didn't really want Jewish religion. They could not completely outroot it. They really wanted to, but it was impossible. You cannot create an independent collective of Jews in its historic whatever without the Jewish religion being present. And we can see this war is going on to this very day, because now the big fight in Israel is between ultra-Orthodox Jews who don't want to join the IDF and the Zionist power, the Zionist establishments, who insist that they should, because they need more and more soldiers for their endless wars.
Alon, I want to conclude on this note, which I think is very important. Jen and I have been saying for a while that Iran, and more specifically the Strait of Hormuz, is America's checkmate when it comes to Israel. Iran is basically has been laying the groundwork to effectively have a choke point in more ways than one against the U.S. economy, which is simply this: either you give up on Israel and their genocide, because they will not stop, or you will go down with them. We will force your country into an economic depression. They're pretty much already doing it as we speak. And I do believe that the only reason, maybe plausibly anyway, the only reason why at least 60,000 ground troops are now in West Asia is because the people at the very top that control the U.S. economy have basically said American soldiers have to die for us to open up the strait, because we are not giving up Israel. That's my opinion. That's what I believe is happening here. Do you believe it's going to require a certain amount of bloodshed before the American people finally revolt?
Yes. My answer is yes, but I think that you are missing one piece in this puzzle, in this chain, because
sure,
what Iran is telling the US is not give up Israel. It is give up your fantasies of being a hegemonic world power with dominance in West Asia. This is what they have to give up first. This I talk about this more in the video in the link that you just shared before, this article from Substack. And I explain why Iran is not attacking Israel. So Iran has this, Iran, I mean, is in such a unique position. I mean, politically, geopolitically, historically. I mean, in this dreary landscape, in this moral wasteland that we are forced to inhabit, where children are being murdered, and the Epstein files are being, what the fuck? I mean, what the fuck? What the actual fuck? The Epstein files are being hidden, and everybody knows what's on them, right? We don't need to see the names and the real. We know what's in there.
Yep.
And in this landscape, Iran is the sole power operating basically alone against this entire coalition of pedophiles and thieves and murderers and child killers and abusers and sadists who have endless amounts of money and almost endless amounts of weaponry. And Iran is facing all this alone, and Iran needs to plan for an assured victory. They are not taking chances. And it has been my understanding and my theory all along, and I'm going to lay it down like in short. Iran is fighting three wars. Okay, war number one is the US. War number two is the Arab regional powers,
Yep.
the traitors and collaborators. And war number three is Israel. And Iran is having this series of wars, one after the other. They don't want to do all together. They don't want to do anything too drastic, because they don't want to first cause potentially a nuclear escalation. So they need to cook Israel and the US a little bit slowly to let them get used to the new degraded state. They have to push the US out. This is the first and biggest mission. This is what they are mainly focused on. And I think that they mostly achieved that already. I think that, yes, the US will try again, give it its best shot, and it's going to fail. And then it's going to be much easier for Iran to continue to wars number 2 and 3, to seriously bring down Saudi Arabia and Jordan and the UAE and Qatar and all those fake countries. And we have to remember, there are like 400 million people who live in Arab West Asia. 90% of them hate Israel and what it's doing. Like they get up in the morning and they curse at Israel, and they go to sleep and they curse at Israel, and they hate the humiliation of being occupied and having all those puppet rulers that they have, from Egypt to Saudi Arabia and
Yep.
everything in between, and Morocco, so many countries. There's a human tsunami that waits for the right moment. And when they feel that this architecture of evil and regional domination is not stable, it's beginning to shake, this is going to be really something for the history books and the video collections of historians in generations to come. There's a volcano of anger and frustration and humiliation accumulating and building, and Iran knows this. And all those corrupt rulers, I mean, this is why Hussein from Jordan went to London last week, and we haven't heard anything from him since. I'm not sure he's coming back. I mean, and this is again the Western and Israeli vanity and really hubris. They have this delusion where there's no limit to their power, and they can do whatever they want. And they are now finding out that this is not the case. This is not the case. And I think that we're in luck that this coalition of pedophiles and psychopaths are led by two figures like Netanyahu and Donald Trump, who are too sick to learn anything and change their behavior and change their tune. These people don't learn and don't reach new conclusions. They're going to double down and double down and double down, and Iran knows this. Iran operates with this in mind. So again, in this great big historic moment, it looks like there can be only one result. And this is the defeat of the West. And this is wonderful news for mankind, for humankind, sorry.
I could not agree more. I am so here for it. I said it earlier. Iran is fighting for like the soul of the planet.